What do you think, Hanako? What do you say, Hanako? If we all help, it shouldn't take long at all. Ah, yeah. I think this is the scene now we're remembering. Hanako's fidgeting answers my question before she can even form the words.
Will I need to go?
Well, that was to be expected. Looks like it's just me and the council girls again. She's resigned myself to another afternoon's work in the small council office. I'll catch up with you later, okay?
Okay. Right, now that the farewell's over, it's work time.
It feels kind of odd that this is actually the correct choice in her route, but then again, maybe the other choice is also correct. Maybe there's no wrong answer with this one. But I imagine she's gone to get that book from the library, and the only difference would be, I don't know, maybe that would change dialogue later on, I don't know. Because I imagine he finds out later on about her book, rather than straight away. I'm not sure. Maybe it had some importance at some point, I can't remember. I haven't played Hanako's route since, I can't even remember when. It's probably, I don't even know, man. More than a year ago, at the very least. Misha and Lilly frog marched me to the student council office, never once letting go of my shoulders. I feel a little bad for ditching Hanako like this, but if this is the price of getting Misha off her back, so be it. So then, what are we up to today?
Debrief!
Huh? Isn't that supposed to happen after something?
Yep, we have to collate all of the information from the festival so that Shizune can debrief the teachers.
Shizune drops a large pile of paperwork on the desk in front of me and smiles, brilliantly, whatever.
Need to sort those out into 2 piles. One for financial stuff like receipts, one for feedback, and one for positive feedback. Maybe one for things that look like they could be problems next year. One for problems that probably won't be able to be fixed.
That's a few more than 2 piles.
Oh right, yeah, I thought it would be only 2 piles. My bad.
Right, while I'm doing this, what will you two be doing?
Well, we missed lunch because we were collecting all these reports, so we're gonna get some food.
So, what did they do when they give the different answer? Because they just went off to have cake. Did they just ditch the work? Why didn't you just sort them out while you were collecting them? Thankfully, my self-defense mechanism kicks in and prevents me from opening my mouth and further worsening my situation.
Hey? How's that fair?
I was fretting over the unfair division of work so much that I didn't notice that Shizune had kept on signing. If it weren't for Misha's outburst, I probably wouldn't have noticed it at all. Shizune seems to be delivering a fairly long string of commands to Misha, and none of them look pleasant. Reaching a conclusion, Misha signs briefly back to Shizune and then sits down at the desk next to her. Shizune waves to the both of us before disappearing out the door. What? What was that all about?
Shichana was worried that you get it all wrong unless you were supervised. And since she can't tell you how you're messing things up, she's making me stay. Bummer, I wanted to go with Shichan. But she's gonna bring us some food back. Back some food. How good is that?
I suppose it makes sense, but if it was Shizune, Hisao wouldn't be able to actually understand her because he doesn't know sign language. Misha's fluency is out of this world, from down in the dumps to on top of the world over some galleries. It's hard to imagine how anyone could operate at that level. Well, it could have been worse. So, what are we supposed to be doing?
Collation!
I yelled at.
Well, let's just start making piles. We'll work out what the piles mean later.
Right. We start to separate all the papers into increasingly complex piles. At first it's just simple categories, financial, feedback, incident reports. Then they split apart into the good and bad reports, and further still until it starts to look like we've just thrown the papers onto the desk. This is hopeless.
Huh? Why? We're doing what we were told, right?
Yes, but it looks like we're just making a mess.
No, I think we got a lot done. Shichan will be able to work out the rest from here. So I think we can stop about here then.
It's almost as if Misha's common sense left the room with Shizune. Still, there's no point in arguing.
Anyway, what's the deal with you and Hanako?
Deal?
You were hanging out with her today, weren't you? Have there been any fireworks, any gossip that you're withholding from me?
If I told you about my own circumstances, it wouldn't be gossip, would it?
I guess not.
We're just friends, I guess. Why are you so interested? I thought you and Shizune didn't like her.
It's not really like that, you know. Shizune and Lilly don't get along well. And since we can't really get Hanako away from Lilly, we don't talk to her much. But that doesn't mean that I can't be concerned for her.
What is there to be concerned about?
Well, she never hangs out with anyone else, right? It's no good, He-chan.
If Shizune and Lilly dislike each other because their personalities are different, then I hate to think how Misha and Hanako would get along.
I mean, in one way or the other, we're all in the same boat here, right?
Well, I guess.
This one time when she left class halfway, though, He-chan went to the teacher and asked what was going to be done about it.
Oh, I think I see where this is going. This sets up a different scene. So this must be why you'd have to choose this choice to continue it. Or maybe the other one would be an alternative bit where we'd skip these scenes. I don't know. Because the walkthrough doesn't mention if it still leads on with the rest of the route or not. But this is a totally different scenario.
This one time when she left class, I'll read that. He said that every student here has special needs and that Shizune shouldn't worry herself about it. Hanako never does any group work, she just runs off. Isn't that enough to be concerned about?
I guess you're right, she still hardly says a word when we're talking.
Well, that's more than I haven't been able to do. Shi-chan and I both tried when she started, but she got scared and ran off.
I consider telling Misha that exactly the same thing happened with me, but she seems caught up in force. Listening to Misha without Shizune's influence is interesting.
I think she needs to realize that people here don't care what she looks like and that she can trust us. If she could, I'd feel a lot better about it.
I think this is the longest I've watched Misha without seeing her sign. When she's with Shizune, she is constantly waving her hands about to explain the world to Shizune. That amount of effort probably places a strain even on an agile mind. But let's face it, Misha isn't the world's brightest spark. Well, I'll keep an eye on her for you. But you should probably apologize for earlier. I don't think Hanako is cut out for that kind of joke.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Sorry.
Don't say it to me, just mention it to her.
Alright, first thing tomorrow, I'll speak to her.
Good. Company from the door heralds the return to Shizune. Probably didn't pronounce that right. I guess you can't really tell how much noise she is making.
Oh, Shi-chan, you're back!
Shizune appears completely laden with goods from the convenience store.
There was some surplus left from the festival. Since this is officially festival business, I splurged a little. Nice idea, Shi-chan. 10 points. 10 points to Gryffindor. No, wrong school. 10 points to the student council.
Is that really allowed?
For someone who refused to join us, you seem to take an unhealthy interest in the politics of this council. I shall punish your insolence by rationing your portion of the feast.
Fine, I get it. Misha slides the multiple stacks of papers to one side to make room for the avalanche of food Shizune is spreading out. As I watch my hard yet misdirected work become wasted, I realize that it's little wonder why these two need help. The convenience store meal isn't overly tasty, but at the very least it's filling.
Thanks for helping today. Most of the time we just make up the reports for the staff. This year we can at least make up some relevant headings on the debrief.
Are you sure this isn't a corrupt organization?
Not at all, not at all. We're by the book. It's not our fault if the book isn't specific enough.
I thought that was the definition of corruption.
You think too much.
You know what? You're probably right. Anyway, I must be off. That is, if I'm allowed to leave.
Your work has been deemed sufficient. You may leave.
Well, thank you. You know, if you stress the free meal side of things over the endless workload side, you'd probably end up with more recruits.
You might just have a point.
Well, think about it. And think about what we talked about. You don't have to tell that to Shizune if you don't want.
What? Oh, alright, I'll try to see her tomorrow. Good night, T-chan.
Night, Misha and Lilly. Chirping birds. Well, bird, gonna chirp in on this? No. Bird. Bird. Birdie. Ready. Chirpity up. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Nope. I guess not. Normally this would be a good time to reflect upon the beauty of nature and how noisy it is, but it is 6 a.m. Covering my head with a pillow, I slam my face into the mattress, hoping that the impact will send me instantly back to sleep. Futile. I toss and turn, but sleep simply won't return to me. Alright, nature, you've won. See, I'm getting up now. The lack of sleep weighs my mind down, and there's only one remedy for this. A nice hearty breakfast. It would be nice to be the first person here, to be the first to dig into a piping hot pile of food, to sit wherever I desire. It would have been nice, but even my exceptionally early start has put me behind the most diligent students. The bird finally returns into its chirp. That sounded weird. I guess there are quite a few people that have early starts here, for one reason or another. A group of students in sports clothes huddle around one table, eagerly discussing game plans in between inhaling great gulps of food. Scattered around the hall are a number of bleary-eyed students, probably suffering from the same ailment as myself, noisy birds. Noisy birds! Do you hear that, bird? Noisy birds! And of course, there are the people that actually enjoy getting up this early. Who enjoys getting up early? The ones with their bags stuffed with textbooks and completed homework. I mean, seriously. How? Also, with a bird, despite how often he tends to chirp now, piercing loud the bird can be, never actually wakes me up or anything like that. The bird is like, only really chirps a lot. Usually, when I speak, the bird tends to chirp a lot, but it's not simply just when I speak, but it usually is. When the bird chirps the most is when I'm speaking, essentially. So when I'm doing my recordings, pretty much. It's hard not to despise people like that, even more so when you're tired yourself. Picking out a familiar face from the thin crowd, I head towards the nearest table. Lily sits alone, delicately feeling her way around a small plate of eggs with her fork. It's almost a shame to interrupt her and her clockwork movements. Wonder, is this how a blind person zones out, simply moving in predetermined patterns learned over the years? Just like how a sighted person would eat while reading a newspaper. Good morning, Lily. I didn't expect you to be here this early.
Oh, Hisao, you startled me. I didn't know you took breakfast this early.
I don't. This is an exception to the rule. I'd greatly prefer to be late to school than early to breakfast. Lily gives a small sigh at my admitted tardiness as I begin eating my food. It doesn't take long for her to lapse back into her previous mindless nibbling. Each short motion lacks energy. I suppose it's similar to letting your eyes wander while performing any ordinary chore. After a few repetitions of the find food, eat food cycle, Lily puts down her fork and dabs her lips with a napkin.
Hisao, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Damn, all I want is a little food and about 4 hours of sleep, and nobody says, can I ask you a question for a simple question? Sure.
Do you think of Hanako as a friend?
Huh? This seems like a leading question. I guess so. Why do you ask?
No real reason. I do have another question, though. Why is it that you think of her as a friend?
This is well above my level. What is she expecting from me? I'm not really sure. I guess it's because she is a little different in the way she deals with people.
Since I've known her, she hasn't really connected with anyone. She doesn't seem interested in other people, and I think people are a little scared of her by her appearance.
Really? I thought that kind of thing was, discouraging, discriminating and such.
If I were to put it in one way.
She furrows her brow in thought, a move which makes me slightly anxious as to what she's plucking from her mind.
I say that say that you're a little naive.
Naive? I'd be insulted if not for the slightly cynical grin on her face. I see.
When Yamaku has a stronger sense of community compared to other schools, it's far from being free of conflict. Rules cannot remove human nature, after all, only suppress it.
That's something I've noticed, actually. Just little things like how certain people and cliques avoid each other in the hallways. It's no different than my old school, really. Even Lilly and Shizune could be considered bitter rivals, even though they both seem like fairly accepting people. Well, at least Misha Tinted Shizune does. Who does what actually goes on with her finger? Who knows what actually goes on with her fingers and behind her glasses? I guess you're right, but when I first came here, everything was a bit of a shock. I kept on making mistakes, or at least thinking I was making mistakes. Like when we first met and I said, I see you too. I didn't know if that was considered rude or anything, so I tried to just put it in the back of my mind. Didn't ban people any differently and that kind of thing. So I didn't. I told myself that Hanako and you and everyone else was just normal, and I tried to ignore the obvious. Talked to Hanako as if she were any other person, and so we became friends. At least, that's how I think it happened. But you know, I feel guilty just from saying something like that aloud. As if it took extra effort to think of Hanako or you or anyone here as normal people. I don't think that's right.
It's how I think you are naive, but I also think that you're a good person. It's perhaps one of your better traits.
I suppose I can take that as a compliment.
Tell me, are you free tonight?
If you don't count homework, then I'm as free as the breeze.
In that case, would you care to join myself and Hanako for tea?
I don't really have that much money at the moment, so going out isn't really...
Oh, I didn't mean going out, just here this evening.
You can access the classrooms in the evening here.
No, that's not what I meant. Hanako and I often use my room for tea parties together. Please feel free to drop by after dusk.
Sure, I see no problem with that. What's your room number? So what time in the evening? Surely the... I don't know, 'cause is there like restrictions? It's just like, no, you can't go into one of the other dorms at this time. Sure, I see no problem with that. What's your room number?
225, room 25 on the second floor.
Okay, sure.
Well, then I'd best be off. I have class representative duties to attend to, after all. Until this evening, Hisao.
Yeah, catch you later. Hang on, was I just invited to a girl's room after hours? Is that even allowed? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then again, didn't that... Well, it happened with Emmy, I think, and the reverse happened with Rin. But those led into those scenes rather than, you know, let's have a tea party! There is a curfew here, but I have never heard any rules about visitors in the dorm rooms. Even still, this is enough to get my sleep-deprived brain jump-started. Add that to a lukewarm breakfast and you have one hell of a pick-me-up. I grudgingly go to class, still a little excited at the prospect of breaking the rules. I feel a little like a kid planning to sneak out of his window at night. Well, maybe that's going a little too far, but when you compare an invitation to a party to 6 or so hours of lectures, I know which one wins. Misha and Shizune do little to relieve my boredom either. For once they seem determined to actually complete Mito's assignments. Nevertheless, the day eventually winds to a close. I hurry back to my room to wash up and comb my hair. Thankfully I don't run into Kenji. Before long I am leaving the boys' dorm. I nervously rap on the door marked 225, checking my watch once again.
Is that you, Hisao? The door's open. You can come in.
Actually, how weird time. Yeah, I could technically split this into 2 or 3 parts, maybe. So I will continue recording. Willie's voice lilts through the door and soothes my nerves. For the first time I've been invited to a girl's room after dark. Even though I know there is no ulterior motive behind this invitation, it doesn't stop my mind running wild with possibilities. Don't worry, Hisao, it's nothing like that. I mean, that'd be way too early in the rap, wouldn't it? And just be like, what? I don't know. One guy, two girls in a dorm room with a tea set. I don't know, something about that just sounds bizarre, doesn't it? It's just like, okay. One guy, two girls, dorm room, and a tea set. When I put it like that, it sounds a little dodgy. Given a small sign to steady myself, I gingerly put my hand on a handle and opened the door, craning my head to see inside. CG! The door opens completely and I catch my first glimpse of Lily's room. No, I can't go along to the music with that. Her furniture looks almost antique, but the bare walls and flat surfaces are barely decorated at all. In the center of the room sits a low table, where I see a small tea set at rest. Mad Hatter! So is this Lily's theme, or what? Or is it, no, that's the scene actually. To Become One is the music track. To Become One! Eventually looks on something. It seems that everything in this room has its place, possibly except in the several piles of books stacked up against the wall. My sense of vision isn't the only one to be stimulated. The faint smell of something can be picked up on the air. Nail polish, perfume, makeup, it's hard to describe in any way other than girly. My eyes finished their quick sweep of the room before returning their position on the girls. Lily sits next to the small table wearing very dark blue pajamas. Dark blue pajamas with shorts that show off plenty of her alluring pale legs. Opposite her, Hanako sits adorned in a conservative-like pink gown. Her hands are firmly fixed between her legs, her shoulders forward and her head down as if trying to hide herself in it. Well, her head isn't really face down, is it? It would be easy for her to do. It looks about 2 sizes too big for her. Waves of flannel flow from her frame, making her look like a child playing dress-up in her parents' clothes. She looks up to confirm my identity, and the beginnings of a thin smile creep across her face, before vanishing so fast that I can't be sure they ever were there.
There's no point in you standing in the doorway, Hisao.
I take a step into the room, closing the door behind me.
My, I'm afraid this really is a small room for the 3 of us. Would you like to take a seat?
I slowly walk to the table and sit down, trying my hardest not to disturb anything along the way. I also can't help but steal a quick glance into Lily's top as I sit. What? To be robbed of a sight would be a most terrible fate.
Well now, how about some tea? Hanako, could you please pour? Sure, Hisao, would you like...
I would love some tea. Do you need a hand?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
You're just adorable. Lily finds it difficult to resist a smile at her companion's nervousness, something I can't really blame her for. Been a tiring day?
Yeah.
I relax at my place opposite of the cabinet. To my left is the blue-clad Lily, and to my right sits the pink Hanako. The tea set on the table looks cute, as well as practical, painted red with a floral motif. You know, I don't think I've ever, I've obviously seen a teapot like this, but it's really old-fashioned looking, isn't it? Just blacked out there. It's is it? I just thinking, it's that's a teapot, right? And then I've tried to think if the one we've got could actually be called a teapot, or if it's got a different name for it, because it doesn't look anything like that, that's for sure. Looks odd when contrasted with Lily's plain but generally sophisticated looking furniture, which leads me to think that Hanako might have picked it out. There is a slight ding when Hanako accidentally clips the teapot on her cup as she is pouring. She breathes in sharply. She must be really nervous, as it's not the kind of thing anyone would worry about. Hanako quivers at her mistake.
It's okay, Hanako. There's no need to be nervous.
Hanako seems to find some confidence in Lily's reassuring, soft-spoken words and deftly pours the next 2 cups.
Here you are, Hisao, Lilly.
Hanako carefully places a cup and saucer in front of Lily and myself. I could get used to service like this.
Thank you, Hanako.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Lily searches for a cup and upon finding it, sips delicately. I do the same. This tea tastes somewhat better than the tea we usually have at school. This is nice. It's so different from any tea I had before.
Looks like you picked the right one, Hanako. You've done well, even if it was a bold move.
Hanako's smile returns, redoubled. Even with her brightened face, her shy smile couldn't be called anything but cute. Adorable! Well, it means the same thing as cute, essentially, but still.
I'm glad you like it.
Hanako finally beginning to relax, sips from her cup. I think back to my chat with Misha the other day. The other day? Well, I suppose you could say, like, you know, just the day before and just say, the other day. Is Hanako's behavior something to be concerned about, or is she just shy? And then there was Lily earlier this morning. The concern from both of them seemed to be genuine, and they knew the situation better than I. But really, how could I possibly help? I have no plastic surgeon, so I can't really help her appearance, nor am I a psychologist that can make her more sociable. So what the hell do Lily and Misha want me to do? It's frustrating. Hanako and I are quickly becoming friends on our own accord, and because of that, it's like a bird is chirping in the background, and everyone wants me to solve all her problems. You know, if like nobody was like paying attention to the screen when I read that, you'd just be like, wait, was the bit comment about the bird in there or what? And I have no idea how to do that. No one can cure my heart, nor Lily's eyes, nor anyone who is here in the school. However, I see no harm in becoming better friends with Hanako now that she's warming up to me. I kind of enjoy hanging out with her.
So, Hisao, are you enjoying yourself?
Those words break me out of my memory, and I take a second to reconsider where I am. I'm in a room with 2 girls in their bedclothes. This is something to be enjoyed. Yeah, it's relaxing, almost like I'm not in school anymore. Do you do this often?
Quite often, but not as often as we take tea in the school building.
Considering they do that nearly every day, that's not a big surprise. As I move to take another sip from my teacup, I find it sadly empty. That was delicious. Thank you, Hanako, Lily.
You're welcome. Yes, you're most welcome, Hisao. It's nice to have a third person here.
Well, anytime you need someone to fill that position, I'm always available, always. One must be sure to get one's point across in these circumstances. Lily lets loose a yawn which she unsuccessfully hides with her hand.
Pardon me, I think I'm a little tired. I think we're all a little tired. My, how astute we are tonight, Hanako. We really should head to bed. We all have class tomorrow.
Yeah, I should go.
Thank you for your presence, Hisao. Thanks, you'll come again?
Not even the whole army could stop me.
I'm impressed by your determination, Hisao.
Either way, you're right, so we'd best get going. I stand up and make for the door. Hanako gingerly stands up behind me. I stop and face her. Are you coming with me? Hanako instantly blossoms into full blush.
No, not. This room isn't.
It's okay, I was only joking.
Oh, okay. Good night. Good night, Hanako. Good night, Hisao.
Night all. And with that, our tea partly finishes. Our tea party, I mean. I'm still not sure what it is that Lily wants me to do for Hanako, but I don't want to let her down. I wait until the doors close behind us before turning to Hanako. Hey, Hanako, you know you don't have to be nervous around me or anything. I mean, we're friends, right?
Right, we're friends.
If you ever want to hang out or anything, just let me know. We still need to have that chess rematch, remember?
Sure. But I don't think you'll win.
It wouldn't be any fun if it was easy. Hanako seems to give a muted laugh, but she could have just as easily been exhaling.
Good night, Hisao.
With that, Hanako quickly retreats into her room, located next to Lily's. I start to walk back to my dorm, but the simple act of walking seems to drain me of my energy. I barely make it to my room before I am hit by a wave of exhaustion. I kick off my shoes, fall into bed, and fall asleep by the time my head hits the pillow. How the hell do you do it, man? I mean, really, how do people... I mean, some people, really, man, they'll just lie down and instantly they're snoring. Immediately they've fallen asleep. I mean, how the hell do they do that? It takes me hours. It's like... it was just like... those relatable freaking posts, like people will occasionally post an image that's just a caption, just say, like, paragraph or something, just like... ain't about, like, you go to bed, you get into bed, and then you close your eyes, and then suddenly you contemplate everything. What is the meaning of life? Where do we go? Where do we come from, and why? What is the purpose? What of this and that, and this and that? Ooh, ideas for things to do, this and that, and this and that. Your mind never works that way when you're freaking, going about your whole day-to-day business, is it? It's only when you're trying to sleep that the mind seems to awaken. That a kind of poetic feel to it, that's it. I pull my door closed, ready for another day of classes.